The scenes of the last few months have been playing out like a TV drama. Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan was being investigated for an alleged rogue unit. When that went quiet, he was summoned to court for fraud. Those charges have now been withdrawn.
So it's good, I think, that they've kind of come to their senses rather than going to court and having having their privates handed to them on a silver platter. But it's done a huge amount of damage, there's no doubt.
There are strong institutions in this country and the checks and balances. And if there are errors that are made, it's good that those checks and balances can find the errors and they can be rectified. He will be pleased to know that there aren't any hanging issues around his appearance at court, any legal story that is coming along the way.
From one bad scene to another, the rand reacted, losing over 3%. $3.6 billion was also lost on the day of the summons as investors fretted over the banking sector. There was some respite on the market. The rand gained over 2.5% as Pravin Gordhan was cleared.
Confidence, I think, is going to be bolstered here. We see it in financial index on the JSE in a market that's declining. Bank shares and other financial institutions, including insurance institutions, are performing better on the all-share index than when they opened.
They've done their credibility and our nation's credibility a huge amount of damage by taking this forward. And you really want to say, well, who's going to be held accountable for this ultimately?
There's some relief now, but it seems like the investigation into the alleged SARS rogue unit and the finance minister's involvement thereof is still on the table. There's no telling what will happen next, although the NPA may have to lie low for a while considering the amount of damage it's done to its reputation, credibility and to the economy. Sumitra Nydoo, CCTV, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Let's get some more insights into what exactly is going on in that country. Angela Coppola joins me now live from Johannesburg with a lot more on this. Angela, lawyers had been picking holes left, right and centre into this case from the day the charges were announced. Why did the NPA do such a shoddy job on this investigation?
Well, it's a question that's being asked, and it's been asked since the 11th of October to start with. It seems that the NPA might perhaps have been guided by other pressures. It's been suggested, for example, that the charges were politically motivated by a faction within the ruling party. It's of course common cause that there is tension within cabinet and also within the senior leadership of the ANC since Gordhan was recalled to the finance minister's position in December. It suggested that the president was less than happy having Gordhan back in that seat again. And then as this court date loomed closer, it appears that the NPA got more and more desperate, and this may have led to this incident last week where a senior SARS official, Flock Symington, was allegedly kidnapped and held against his will. So a whole range of issues in play at the moment, and we probably won't get any certainty on this matter just yet, Roman.
Indeed. Let's pick up on something you've brought in there, just to give our viewers some background on that. The man in question here, Mr. Symington, is the SARS Deputy Director of Law Administration. He's filed a case accusing officers, essentially, from the Hawks and the SARS Commissioner's bodyguard, the SARS Commissioner, of course, being Mr. Tomoyane, of trying to coerce him into signing an affidavit related to this now dropped fraud charges against the Finance Minister. What's the latest on that particular case?
Well, the case is under investigation. As you know, there's audio and visual evidence that apparently shows the illegal actions by the Hawks and by the Commissioner's bodyguard. IPID, which is the sort of internal affairs of the South African Police Services, are investigating this matter and are reviewing all the evidence. The Hawks, on the other hand, have now accused IPID of acting with Symington, the SARS official, in recording the incident. Coincidentally, the head of IPID is recently returned from suspension himself. That's one Robert McBride. He's been fighting his suspension since 2015, and he's also been fighting for the independence of IPID to keep it out of various police services. And it seems at the moment that he's been vindicated. Of course, Raman, this case, the actual investigation is not going to go away anytime soon.
Indeed. Taking all of these events in their totality, though, Angela, with these charges dropped, why should these gentlemen, the SARS Commissioner, Tomoyane, the head of the NPA, Sean Abrahams, even the head of the Hawks, why do they still have their jobs?
Well, it's a fairly intricate question or a complicated issue. On Abrams, there's a political party and a private individual at the moment who've gone to the General Counsel of the Bar to try and have him disbarred as an advocate. If that happens, then he'll probably have to relinquish his post as the National Prosecuting Director. The ANC, surprisingly, have asked that the President, who is the appointing authority for the head of the NPA, actually steps in and engages with leadership to avoid a repeat of the situation that's just happened. And then, while the Hawks boss, well, he's apparently not a paragon of virtue either. Will he keep his job? Probably. He's managed to weather bigger storms and has come through unscathed. The position of the SARS Commissioner, on the other hand, is a little less certain. He reports directly into Pravin Gordhan, and there's no love lost between the two of them, we're led to believe at least. Will Gordhan act now that the court case has gone away? Well, we'll just have to wait and see on that one, Raman.
Indeed, some pretty interesting developments right across the board in South Africa. It's Angela Kuppler live in Johannesburg. Thank you for that.